This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Now at 7, RTV6 is on top of several developing stories. First, on the north side of Indianapolis, IMPD says officers are in a standoff with a possible shooting suspect. It began when officers were called to an area near West 79th Street and Township Line Road in response to a shooting. The victim told police his friend shot him. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Now officers and SWAT team members are dealing with a suspect who may be barricaded in a home.
Johnson County officials say several roads are still closed at this hour as crews work to remove a man who was killed when a well caved in. The Bargersville Fire Department says the man was about 15 feet below ground when the walls collapsed. He did not survive. County Road 225 North is closed from County Road 500 West to 450 West until about 8 o'clock tonight.
And now at 7, continuing coverage of a horrific crash in Boone County. 2
women and a baby are dead after a truck driver is accused of driving into backed up traffic on I-65. Tonight, that driver is facing felony charges. And the Boone County Sheriff's Office is sharing this note that they say was written by the driver, Matthew Small. The handwritten message says, quote, "My heart and prayers are with the families. I am in agony over this whole ordeal." Investigators say Small took his eyes off the road to put down his coffee mug when he slammed into the other vehicles.
Call 6 Investigates is working for you. Digging into the driver's history, we found Matthew Small has been warned many times about his driving habits, both professionally and personally. Indiana State Police cited Small just this past summer on I-69 for following too closely in his truck. He paid his fine to Carmel City Court in full back in November. Small also has violations dating back to 2002 in Michigan and Ohio for reckless driving, speeding, driving on a suspended license, and improper stops. We reached out to the trucking company where Small was working, and we have not heard back.
We're also learning more about the 3 people killed in the crash. 1-year-old Hadley Tomey, her mother, 21-year-old Mariah Tomey, and 19-year-old Kaylee Kirk were from Lebanon. Tomey and Kirk went to Lebanon High School. Friends say they were on the way to Traders Point Christian Church when the crash happened.
People who drive through the Boone County area where the accident happened tell RTV6 that there have been traffic issues with that exit ramp before. Megan Sanctorum shows you what the state is doing to increase safety in that area for drivers.
As this Boone County community grows, so does the number of people traveling on the roads and using the I-65 Whitestown Parkway exit. Some say certain times of the day can be especially bad.
At work times and especially at church times on Sunday, there's a lot of backup I've seen.
Traders Point Christian Church draws thousands to the area each week. A spokesperson for the church tells us they work with local police departments to control traffic flow, but some say that's not enough. The state has also been watching growth in this area. Between 2012 and 2015, INDOT added additional travel, turn, and exit lanes. They now plan to add a new exit at County Road 500 South and redo the State Road 267 interchange. An INDOT spokesperson says this will help relieve some of the traffic issues, but drivers still need to do their part as well.
No, we have to, as drivers, drive and put those distractions down. Pay attention, your full attention on the roadway each and every time we get behind that wheel.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
And Traders Point Christian Church released a statement regarding the crash and traffic flow in the area. We have that posted on our website. You can also find all of our coverage of the deadly I-65 crash right now at theindychannel.com, including the full history of the driver facing charges. We will also bring you any developments through the RTV6 News app. Todd.
All right, Amanda, temperatures today climbed into the low to mid 40s, depending on where you are, closer to 50 in southern locations, but officially 43 degrees at the airport in Indianapolis. This is significant because that is above normal, and that means every single day so far this year has been above normal temperature-wise, and going forward, with the exception of maybe Wednesday, our temperatures will remain above normal. Already below freezing, though, in Peru at 30 right now, 32 in Bloomington, where the skies are a little clearer. 39 is the current temperature in Columbus. We have this little band of cloud cover that's working its way through the area. So a little more in the way of cloud cover this evening and overnight. These rain and snow showers you see off to the west forecast, they should fizzle away. Can't completely rule out the chance of maybe a flurry or two come tomorrow morning or a sprinkle, but nothing really to worry about as far as any issues to start your morning commute on Tuesday. This evening, just grab the jacket. You'll need it as temperatures fall from the 30s back down into the 20s by 11 p.m. We'll look at the rest of the week coming up in just a few minutes.
See you soon, Todd. Thank you. Covering the State House now, the 2020 legislative session is officially underway. Lawmakers got to work this afternoon on the latest bills that might become Indiana's new laws. The House Republicans also officially revealed their priorities for the session. That includes the Hold Harmless bill, which would protect Hoosier teachers and schools from negative impacts of iLearn scores. Republicans also want to raise the minimum age to buy and use tobacco products to 21, even though that recently became federal law. State House leaders say it's to maintain consistency with the federal government. They also want to make sure that you won't get charged high health care prices for an office that's in your network, even if the doctor is out of your network.
Today, IMPD and Fishers Police spoke about the work that went into catching the 3 suspects behind a deadly crime spree in both Marion and Hamilton counties. Richard Garrett, Delance Hatcher, and Rashana Farrow are facing charges for 13 different violent crimes. Law enforcement credits the Crime Gun Intelligence Center with helping investigators connect the cases.
Had it not been for that improved process and technology, we would not have been able to make the connection to these cases and so many others across Marion County and Fishers in such a quick manner.
It's a group who are dedicated to addressing gun violence, and that is their sole purpose, to address trigger pullers, those that we know are out there perpetrating violence.
The center helps cut down on time it takes to link violent incidents across the county and city lines using ballistic evidence. Investigators say at least 18 victims were impacted by the crime spree, and 2 of the suspects are also responsible for the death of Fishers Police K-9 Harley.
He was the oldest remaining survivor of the sinking of the USS Indianapolis during World War II. Don Hollison's family announced today that he died late last week at his home in Florida. He was 98 years old. Hollison was the only remaining officer aboard the ship that went down shortly after it delivered the first atomic bomb to be dropped on Japan. There are now only 10 survivors of the USS Indianapolis tragedy who are still with us.
Now to breaking news on the standoff on the north side. Police say the suspect is in custody and he does not appear to be injured. The situation started around 4:40 this afternoon near West 79th Street and Township Line Road after a reported shooting. Officers found a victim in critical condition on the sidewalk. He said his friend shot him. That led to a SWAT situation with the suspect in a home, but police say that situation has been resolved.
Days of tension between the United States and Iran show no signs of easing. Today, thousands of Iranians took to the streets mourning the loss of their top military commander, Qasem Soleimani. President Trump is readying thousands of troops to deploy to the Middle East to protect against retaliation. The White House is planning to brief all senators on the Iran situation Wednesday. Meanwhile, Democratic leaders plan to introduce and vote on a war powers resolution that limits the president's potential military actions in regard to Iran.
The power to make war resides in the Congress. The founders believe that there needed to be a check on executive power. And we know when we go into a conflict anywhere in the world in the past, we're always stronger when we are united.
Meanwhile, Iran announced it will no longer abide by the deal with the United States, putting limits on its nuclear program. And in Iraq, where the airstrike that killed Soleimani took place, members of parliament took a symbolic vote to expel American troops from the country. After several years of waiting, women who have accused Harvey Weinstein of rape and assault were outside a New York courthouse as the movie mogul's trial now gets underway.
Weinstein maintains his innocence. Ayanna Harry with our Scripps News partners in New York has the latest, including new charges against Weinstein.
If he wasn't so prolific in his predatory behavior, we wouldn't all be here today.
As Harvey Weinstein arrived for the first day of his rape trial, several of his high-profile accusers were waiting.
And it's pretty emotional, I think, for all of us. Karma's a whatever happens, I don't know.
Actress Rose McGowan was one of the first women to publicly come forward and say the disgraced movie mogul raped her.
Today, Lady Justice is staring down a super predator.
Weeks after surgery, Weinstein entered court with the help of his lawyers and a walker.
How's your back?
Judge James Burke issued several rulings for the trial ahead. Weinstein's attorneys asked for the jury to be sequestered in hotel rooms for the full 8-week trial.
Just based on all of the media attention this case is obviously getting.
The request was denied. Also in court, prosecutor Joan Illuzzi accused Weinstein's lawyers of behavior that was, quote, abominable, saying they spoke in the media about sealed evidence and the witnesses. The judge told both sides, leave the witnesses alone. Now the process of selecting a jury here in New York City begins Tuesday morning.
Fair jurors who can be fair and impartial.
Also today, Weinstein's defense team has a new criminal case to respond to. Just hours ago, the Los Angeles DA charged Weinstein with sexually assaulting 2 women there in 2013.
And that was Ayanna Harry reporting. Weinstein is already facing life in prison if found guilty of all charges in this trial. If convicted of the new charges filed in Los Angeles today, he could be sentenced to another 28 years.
Coming up, a new twist in the battle over impeachment proceedings. A former high-ranking member of the White House makes an announcement about testifying in the Senate trial.
Welcome back. The race for 2020 is well underway, and in less than a month, the first state will weigh in on the field of Democratic candidates. Indiana voters will go to the polls in May to pick who they would like to see on the Democratic ticket. Several candidates have dropped out over the last few weeks, but a Hoosier, former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg, is still in the running. We caught up with ABC News political director Rick Klein, who gives his insight on who may begin to move up in the Democratic polls.
The big story really is Mayor Pete Buttigieg, former mayor now from South Bend, who has an opportunity to shock the political world a month from now in Iowa. If he were to win that, it would change the complexion of his candidacy and maybe dictate the terms of the rest of the primaries that ensue after that. He's one of the real surprises of 2019. His challenge will be keeping that momentum going in 2020, when the fact is that candidates, including Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, are enormously strong. They have been wire to wire as the top 2 candidates. So someone has to knock them off the peg, and it would appear that Pete Buttigieg is probably the best position to do that a month out.
Indiana's presidential primary is Tuesday, May 5th. The Democratic Party will officially pick its candidate during the DNC convention in mid-July.
Now to the standoff in Congress over the impeachment trial of President Trump. As Republicans await the articles of impeachment to be delivered from the House, there's a new development involving former National Advisor John Bolton. ABC's Inez de la Cotera shows you what Bolton says he is prepared to do now.
As lawmakers return to Washington, a new possible witness is emerging in the Senate trial, John Bolton. Democrats have been demanding to hear from 4 witnesses, including the president's former national security advisor. Bolton's lawyer previously stated he had relevant information to share. Today, Bolton released a statement saying, if the Senate issues a subpoena for my testimony, I am prepared to testify. Bolton reportedly did not inform the White House prior to his statement, but did let Senate Leader McConnell know.
The House may have been content to scrap their own norms to hurt President Trump, but that is not the Senate.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says his colleagues should accept Bolton's offer.
If any Senate Republican opposes issuing subpoenas to the 4 witnesses and documents we've requested, they would make it absolutely clear they're participating in a cover-up.
Meantime, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, still waiting for the Senate trial procedures, hasn't revealed when she plans to deliver the articles of impeachment to the Senate, but tweeted after Bolton's announcement, the president and Senator McConnell have run out of excuses. Senator Lindsey Graham telling Fox News he's getting impatient.
If we don't get the articles this week, then we need to take matters in our own hands.
The GOP senator insisting he'll work with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to move forward with the trial. Inez de la Cotera, ABC News, Washington.
Coming up, a northern Indiana community is in a state of emergency. How water levels are creating a crisis.
And temperatures are cooling off pretty quickly here this evening. Will continue to fall through the 30s during the evening hours. Then as you wake up tomorrow morning, as you head off to work and the kids head off to school, we'll be in the 20s. Despite that chilly start, it turns into a decent day. We'll talk all about it coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast.
Donate to Goodwill.
This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Portage, Indiana, along Lake Michigan, has become the latest lakefront community to declare an emergency because of rising water. The mayor of Portage says that she declared the emergency to open up state and federal funding to protect the city's shoreline and Indiana Dunes National Park. Some of the parts of Portage lakefront there have lost as many as 40 feet of beach due to the rising waves. The state of emergency will last for 7 days, but the city might extend the declaration indefinitely. The lake levels have been high since the summer following a rainy spring.
Not too much rain today, but plenty of sunshine.
Yeah, you know, it was a beautiful day for us. Temperatures got up into the 40s. That put us above normal once again. And we're going to continue the nice weather for at least the next few days here across central Indiana. A little bit of cloud cover starting to work its way into the area. And you can see this cloud cover from Indianapolis to the north to the south. The skies are a little bit clearer. And we'll continue to deal with a little bit of this cloud cover off and on throughout the evening hours. But we will be looking at quiet conditions as we go into the coming days. So as we work our way into the coming days, we'll be talking about temperatures that still remain above normal. 40s for your highs today, even close to 50 degrees in Bloomington. But now that the sun is set, we're cooling things off at 38 degrees. The wind is calm right now, and the wind's not going to be an issue here throughout the overnight hours, so that's the good news. But some of you have dipped below freezing already. In the outlying areas, 32 in Bloomington, 30 right now in Peru. So I mentioned those clouds. They continue to work their way to the south as far as any precipitation. There's a little bit of light rain and snow here off to the west, and that will continue to make its way in our direction, but it's running into some dry air. So with the exception of maybe a sprinkle and or a flurry tomorrow morning, not anticipating any issues as you walk out the door tomorrow, but you just have to bundle up with temperatures that will be in the 20s as you start off your day with those quiet conditions. And we should stay in the 20s through about 8 a.m. And then those temperatures will start to moderate pretty quickly with lots of sunshine throughout the day tomorrow, back up to right where we were today, right around 43 to 44 degrees. So today rather, and tomorrow are going to be very similar to each other. As we work our way into the day on Wednesday, it's a quiet day for us with lots of sunshine. It's the coldest day at 36 degrees, but I've kind of jumped ahead in the forecast because there's a lot to talk about as we get into the latter half of the week. And that's because a big storm system is going to be heading our way. Showers develop late Thursday. Friday is potentially a very wet day, and that heavy rain works its way into Saturday as well. The storm system, though, brings some mild air with it. We're on the warm side of things, and that means with the exception of Thursday evening, right when the precipitation starts, this is going to be mainly a rain event for us. With that said, a lot of rain is heading our way. That's on the heels of a pretty wet December, and the ground is completely saturated. So flooding is going to become a concern for us going forward in this forecast in the coming days. So Thursday evening, the showers arrive. This is Friday morning. We're dealing with a pretty steady rainfall across the area. As we work our way into Saturday, I think the rain even gets a little bit heavier, especially as the actual front starts to come through. The timing of that right now is Saturday morning. Of course, this is a ways away, so we'll have to fine-tune the timing for you as we get a little bit closer. And then as the colder air comes in, it's not out of the question this could end as a little bit of light snow in northern locations. That's something we'll have to keep an eye on for you. But I'm more concerned about the rain potential and the flooding potential than I am of this wintry weather. And then by the time we get to Sunday, finally, we get an opportunity to drive out. But late in the week, we're talking about, this is not snow, this is rain. 2 to 4 inches of rain could be heading our way. And again, that could lead to some flooding across the area. Now, the good news in this forecast is we are going to be above normal temperature-wise. We are talking about highs near 60. And then as we work our way into Sunday and Monday, temperatures are back into the 40s.
We got to enjoy it.
I'll take it.
Yeah, thank you, Todd, for that.
More details tonight on the closing of an anchor store at Washington Square Mall.
Burlington says it will end operations on January 24th and that all employees have been made aware of this situation. The company's PR firm confirmed that today, saying that it began its closing sale this past Friday. Burlington's departure will come after the closing of Dick's Sporting Goods store just yesterday. Target is now the only remaining anchor store at the East Side Shopping Center. In August, the mall came under new management, which says it is still committed to the facility.
A major change for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is official. The sale of IMS and the IndyCar Series to Roger Penske was finalized today. The sale was first announced in November. The track has been in the Holman George family since 1945. Until now, Penske is the fourth owner in the track's history. In a statement, he said, quote, "We are looking forward to carrying on the tradition of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and IndyCar racing. As a car owner, Roger Penske has won the Indy 500 a record 18 times.
Still ahead here on RTV6, the new year means new fitness goals for many people.
Coming up, why you should not stress about hitting 10,000 steps. That's next, right here on RTV6.
And at JanuaryIndyBoatShow.com.
With the increasing popularity of fitness trackers, more of us are counting our steps.
And getting in your daily steps might even be a part of your New Year's resolution. Fitbits and other tracking programs automatically set a goal of 10,000 steps a day for users. But experts say there isn't much science behind that number. It actually started as a marketing tool to sell pedometers back in the 60s and became a standard step goal just because it's easy to remember. Experts tell USA Today that you should set your own goal. They say figure out your steps for a regular day, then aim to get 2,000 more than that. Most people take between 4,000 and 5,000 steps daily.
You just count them yourself?
Let's see. I'm looking.
Start counting. Start counting.
About 6,000, my watch tells me.
Oh, you're above average then.
So I'm above average, and we still got a couple hours to go.
Take a load off. Sit down the rest of the way, right?
Right. The weather not bad to get outside the next few days with quiet conditions. Rain arrives, though, by the end of the week.
All right, sounds good. And thank you for joining us for RTV6 News at 7.
We'll be back here at 11. See you then.